everyone. Welcome to the Us Review. I'm Carla Davis Luster, your host. Here is where I discuss controversial relationship topics. And today I'm going to discuss the one topic that's universal, that men and women actually discuss. It's been a topic or a hot topic for centuries, okay? This is a topic that everybody talks about. And yes, I plan to go there with what I may say. Today is season 1, episode 8. WTF, they be creeping. Why do people cheat? Of course, it's a must that I recap the previous week. Does age matter? Was last week's episode. I discussed the pros and cons of dating older or younger. I actually mentioned the myth that says you should date someone at least half your age plus 7. However, as society would have it, there are no rules, and you should love who you love, okay? I would invite you to check it out on any of my pages at Ask Carla, preferably YouTube, where I do ask you to subscribe. Today, we are going to talk about the infamous topic, why do people in relationship go outside for fulfillment? When chatting with people about this subject, there are lots of reasons that they gave me. Or shall I ask questions? Is it simply greed, narcissism, selfishness, or chasing happiness in a dream? Whatever the reason, there are a numerous amount of reasons that people could actually give and factors that cause people to seek love outside of the relationship. To name a few of some of the things that people were naming, it was anger, low self-esteem, lack of love, low commitment, the need for variety, neglect, sexual desire, and whatever stimulating circumstances that they came up with that they actually said were the reasons why they felt that, people were cheating. And this was, a huge survey. It is said also that 40% of married couples are actually affected by infidelity yearly, mostly by frustration. Frustration in a marriage is a huge trigger. It can stem from a lot of things that I named, such as, unable to get some resolution on an issue in a marriage. Possibly one of the parents or one of the partners, they're jealous of a newborn baby, taking away attention from, one or the other. Childhood baggage, being neglected, mental abuse from a spouse, feeling unsupported. And the last thing that I will mention, it's definitely not the only thing, or the list did not stop there, is revenge. It is said that hell has no fury like a woman scorned, okay? As seen in movies, and I watch a lot of movies and I'm always talking about movies, here are some where we see the woman has been scorned. Acrimony, what's love got to do with it? Kill Bill. I was a little bit over the top, but Kill Bill. And the last one that I'll name is A Woman Scorned, the Betty Broderick story. I don't know if many of you saw that. I think it was on Lifetime. There are so many reasons that people can give, to try to justify the fact of, the infidelity in a relationship or cheating. Keep in mind these things, and a lot of movies, like I said, this particular subject, makes for good books, for good movies, and all of this, movies and books or whatever, tend to come from real life scenarios. I surveyed a lot of people, I talked to a lot of people or whatever else. In my novels, I don't use any names or anything like that, but nevertheless, all of the stuff that you see on TV and generating from different things, it has to come from somewhere. It is basically life scenarios embellished to be exciting for revenue purposes and for entertainment. And however, they do come from somewhere. Today, I have two prefaces. The first being some statistics that I'm going to take from Discrete Investigations and Security. It is an Institute for Family Studies. It was said, when I did this study or read over the study, the main point of this study was to say that men cheat more than women. However, some of the numbers didn't measure up to me. However, when the age group of 18 to 29 was surveyed, they said that women are more guilty of cheating. And of the 18 to 29-year-olds that were surveyed, 11% of them admitted to having an affair. Interesting, huh? In comparison, only 10% of the men were guilty of having an affair. And that was just a group of people. However, I will make mention that I read several surveys and several studies where the numbers, I chose to use these numbers in this particular podcast. However, there were several others that I looked at, and the numbers were quite higher. They were, starting at like 40% and up. Here you're seeing like just in the teens. Interesting. When ages during this study was surveyed, 30 to 39, they said that 14% of men were guilty of infidelity and 11% were women. Interesting. Again, here's a gut wrencher for you. It said that men in their 60s reported having a higher infidelity rate of 24%, with the number increasing when they got to ages 70 to 79 to 26%. So as the age went up, the infidelity went up, right? Interesting. Women in their 60s, on the other hand, were 16%. Women in their 70s were 13%. I'm like, okay. And then women in their 80s were 6%. Grandma, really? So you would think they're like interested in their retirement plan or something like that. But these numbers were, to me, any of the numbers, was just outrageous. When it got to 86%, where's grandpa? You're across the street with their grandpa, So anyways, needless to say, it was very interesting reading all of this stuff, that this is definitely happening. The study said also that men from 50 to 59 years of age peaked in having affairs. I guess, when I read that and all of the things that I read surrounding it, it was more so when a man hits 50, it's like he's got something to prove, or he wants to still feel accepted and wanted, and that he wants to feel like he still has it. And this is, not something just I've read in a survey. You kind of, see it around just from talking to people in general. People kind of, I don't know if when you hit 50, you start feeling like, oh, this is the downhill, or this is the downslope side of, how long I'm going to be here. And I got to, get a lot of stuff done or whatever. But it did say when men hit their 50s that they start to peak in cheating. So interesting. That entire study, definitely was very interesting to me. And here's another piece that I'd like to share. In this age, we deal with technology. Everything is, technologically sound and savvy in the way that we move. However, it says that technology studies found that people get creative and find innovative ways to cheat online on these dating apps. And particularly, I'm going to name one, Tinder. Listen at this. It said that 18 to 25% of Tinder users are in committed relationships. Interesting, right? Meaning that 25% of the people that are posted up out on Tinder are already in relationships, and they're just out there just trying to get some extracurricular activity, or trying to change out the model that they got. But they're already in committed relationships. And from my understanding, I have not ever been on Tinder or whatever. That is supposed to be a dating matchup set or whatever else, and you got these people posted up out there that's already married or already in a committed relationship. Not cool, not cool. So with that was, some statistics I wanted to throw out to you on, what's kind of going on in the world and who's doing it, who's not doing it, or whatever. It's just, I found it very interesting. My second preface always definitely is going to come from my novel, The Woman Tells. And The Woman Tells is about a couple that are together. They start having problems. They cheat on each other. They bring a mistress in, a paramour, which is the male mistress, into the relationship, and stuff just goes. And this is what my novels are about. And my second one is about the mistress herself. I'm starting to branch off for the characters and write their stories. And the book is called I'm Not a Homeworker Opportunist Maybe. That brings me to the title of chapter 8, where I'm going to be taking my preface from. It's entitled I'm Not a Homeworker Opportunist Maybe, and that's where the name of the book came from, the second book, because I'm writing about her. Get it? Right? However, it's chapter 8 in The Woman Tells, and it's page 87, paragraph 1 and 2. However, let me hold them up like I always do every week. This is The Woman Tells. You can purchase it at Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and on my website at AskCarlaDL.com. And this is I'm Not a Homeworker Opportunist Maybe. It's chapter 8 in this book, and it's an entire book for me writing about the mistress. So please go out and get that. Please support. But let me get to reading page 87 on my preface. And it starts out, you were introduced to me in chapter 1, and comments have been made about me throughout this novel. But it's my time. Imagine speaking as the other woman. I would start off by saying I may be many things, but a homewrecker is not one of them. Whenever there is a situation between a man and a woman, in most cases, the woman gets the bad name, which is very true. The man gets all scot-free, right? Here is where I am with that. All narrow-minded people can kiss my like her husband has been doing. Right now, it's time for me to hypothetically tell my side of the story. So she's getting into this, right? I am very attractive married woman. I go about my day in business trying to live life to the fullest, however it's dealt to me. Throughout my life, men have come at me, mostly men who belong to other women. Why do people cheat? We're talking about season 1, episode 8. Why do people cheat? They tend to offer me things, take me places, pay for me to meet them out of town, and whatever it takes for them to lie with me. Okay? This has not always been my thing, but like the wife, I've been in the shoes of my husband, taking me through bullshit. The woman tells, don't miss out. Gotta get it. So let's get back to this. That was my second preface. The woman tells, chapter 8. I'm not a homework opportunist. Maybe page 87, paragraphs 1 and 2. And I give you these teasers because I want you to go in here and read the whole thing and put it all together. Just to see. And these topics are definitely triggered from some of the things in the books and just from topics that people want to hear about. However, now let's talk about, we're moving forward. We've been talking about some of the things that, people, we're talking about, why do people cheat and some of the things that cause them to cheat. Here's another piece I wanted to put this in here. I took this from my readings. A therapist in Virginia, she actually said that there are even other ways that people can cheat rather than just the physical or whatever else. There are other things that happen within life that are considered infidelity, an affair, and cheating. And the few things that she tended to name was, the things that could be also called cheating is, you could have an emotional attachment to someone, emotionally desiring another person. In her mind and in her study, she was saying that that's also cheating. That's also an affair. She came up with the online flirting, flirting with someone online. I don't know, depending on what kind of pictures you put out there, you may get hit up, or DM'd from someone, saying something that's really kind of crossing the line or whatever. It's okay if the people, when they're DMing you and they don't really know your status, but you kind of do. If you read people's profile, you can kind of, know the clue. But if by chance you missed it and you ask politely and a person should answer you, needless to say, the online flirting, she was saying that this is part of, having an affair or a cheating. Texting, whatever you're texting, video calling, calling people on video and just, interacting and whatever else, moving on to, maybe phone sexting or whatever. She said that the sexting was actually having an affair, compulsive sexual behavior. And I got to think that this is, people just approaching you saying inappropriate things. And, and I got to assume that doing it so much, this is considered that you are a person that's really just having an affair within yourself. And then the one night stands. To me, the one night stands, it is you cheated. However, I don't think that's an affair. An affair to me happens over time where you're consistently seeing a person as opposed to the one night stand you cheated. So that's cheating and, so I guess it's the length of time when you look at it that ways. However, today is season 1, episode 8, and we are talking about why do people cheat? Now, let's talk about some reasons people named when surveyed, not saying that I agree or disagree. I'm speaking on the philosophical thinking and behaviors on the whys given during a survey, why people cheat. Keep in mind, before I name them, let me say this. Individuals that cheat that behavior is strictly on them. And for whatever the reasoning is in their mind, the partner that was cheated on should not be feeling that they are the blame, that they are the one that caused it or whatever else. Because as adults and as people, we make our own decisions. If you are in a situation and you're not happy and something is going on and you feel like you're being pushed or whatever to do something, you still have to make a conscious decision to go out and do whatever you do. And should you decide to do that, you have to take the responsibility and the accountability that at the end of the day, you made that decision, because you could have made the same decision to actually just get out of the situation and move on and be able to do it as a single person. But if you are still committed or whatever else, you made that decision. So the person that's being cheated on, you shouldn't feel blamed. And if you guys are doing it to each other, I don't know, just hey, suck it up and say that no one can point a finger and keep it moving. So number one, let's talk about that. Some of the things that was said is unhappiness and dissatisfaction in the relationship. Once again, all of this is, if you're dissatisfied and you're unhappy, you need to talk about it. You need to talk to that person that you're with. You need to share why you're unhappy and what's making you unhappy through conversation and communication. Here's the second one, feeling unappreciated. If you feel unappreciated, you got to let them know. It's like, hey, you're taking me for granted. I do all of these things for you, and never do you say thank you. Never do you. If it's a male, come home with some flowers. Lady, never do you cook dinner. Whichever way that door is swinging, it's you're feeling unappreciated. You got to let them know. The lack of commitment. That's meaning that you're just not committed to the situation at all. You're just doing whatever the hell you want to do. Then the person that's happening to, at some point you got to take some accountability and responsibility and look out for yourself and say, this is not working for me. Maybe I need to keep it moving and moving on. Boredom, people, some of the things are said that people get bored. If you're bored, okay, that's fine. Because as a human, as an individual, you do have the right to change your mind, whatever, and you hate that it happens if you're in a marriage, because that's a whole big old thing. Definitely if you got children in the play, and I talk about all of this, so much. But if you're not there, you're not there, rather than just stay there and you both are miserable and just doing all things out of context, then you just need to keep it moving on. So boredom, body image, aging, men and women, maybe you're feeling like your spouse have let themselves go. That's a conversation. That's something that can actually be fixed. I mean, through diet, through conversation, through a stylist, through, just whatever. If you are really committed to this relationship and that, it's just something that's taking you off your kilter and it can be fixed, then work on it. However, if you're done, you're done. State that. Don't drag everybody through the mud. Anyway, lack of communication that I talk about every week, all day, every day. Lack of communication. You got to communicate. The other thing was, financial pressure. People, get hung up into that, and, the finances on the other hand. I'm going to talk, a little bit, after this, I'm going to start throwing out some of the signs that, people are actually cheating. Financial pressure, what's going on with the money, low compatibility. And honestly, to me, you should know whether or not you're compatible with a person during the dating stages. If you guys can't get it together then, I mean that doesn't make it going to change during the marriage, So, and also a little bit later, I'm going to talk about my relationship color palette assessment guide, and it has a lot of things in there too. You take a test and you find out how compatible you are. I'll talk a little bit more. Let me keep it moving. Emotional and physical disconnect. That you guys have definitely emotionally disconnected. You don't care. You're not concerned about each other's feelings, physically, and we've talked about that you're not attracted. But this one here, it's emotional and physical disconnect due to the internet. They're so caught up on the internet. It's called internet infidelity. I didn't even know that was a thing, but you're having an affair online, and that can go back to the Tinder thing. I don't know how that works, or a dating app online where you guys are video calling or whatever. That said that, that's, some of the things. pornography, strip clubs, and with the strip clubs, it's supposed to be entertainment, but your person being there has moved past the entertainment portion, and I don't know how people feel about that. I'm not giving an opinion one way or the other, whether or not I would, condone or not condone my guy being there or me being there, whatever. It's just moved past entertainment, and in some cases, people hook up, with that, so that's a situation, and that was one of the things that was named. Absence, always gone, never around, may cause someone to seek something else because you're never there. They're putting something or someone in your place. Poor boundaries. Now, this one was really a weird one to me. Poor boundaries, and I'll explain what that was when I read it. It was that a person, they're so passive that they can't say no. It's like someone coerced them into cheating. It's like they can't say no. That's weird to me. But I read it, and apparently it actually happens where people don't have the ability to tell people no. I've seen parents with kids can't tell them no and stuff like that. How do you not tell them no? That no, you can't have any. I'm just saying. I said I was going to go there, but that's a weird one. Say no. Okay. Lack of respect. You feel like you're disrespected and not appreciated, and all those go into the same thing, and so you're cheating. So that was one. Neuroticism. They view the world. Neuroticism. They view the world as unsafe and threatening, or that person that they with is threatening, so they get with another person because they feel safe with them. That doesn't make any sense to me either, but it was listed. The other thing was a narcissism, ego. It feeds your ego how many women or how many men that you can get, and they're coming at you or whatever else. It was basic narcissism. So that was one. Mental illness, a disorder. The bipolar, you got two personalities, and one of the personalities is committed and one is cheating. But it says it's a mental illness disorder. However, I guess it was saying that that's a sickness, and this person don't know what they're really, it's two of them. So how do you handle that if you find out? It's like be mad at half of them or something. I don't know. But it was listed with the cheating, to the two people syndrome. Last, let me say this. A study showed exposure as a child, a child being exposed to the infidelity and the affair and the cheating and how you're conducting yourself as a parent really is important. And I've spoken in some of my other instances to just be serious now, is that, when I was dating or whatever else, you didn't meet my kids unless we were serious. Very few have. When I was dating, it's like everybody that you meet and stuff, you bring them around your children. So children are very, very influenced. And a study, back in 2015, there was a study that showed that children that are exposed to parents having an affair are twice as likely to have an affair when they get older, because it's a learned behavior. Gotta say this, keep your kids out of it. Watch who you have your kids around, watch who you're leaving your kids with. It's very important. The adult stuff, let it be adult stuff. Children, keep them sacred, because right here it says a 2015 study showed that children that are exposed to this, they grow up to do that themselves. So very interesting, huh? Okay, I've talked a lot about that. Now let's talk about some signs that you can, look at to see if your partner is cheating on you, okay? Starting with the changes in how you guys even speak to each other. They're starting to be abrupt, kind of short or whatever. Just if your communication is actually changing and they're not as attentive as they used to be, they're ignoring what you say and they're just, yeah, or whatever, and they're just very dismissive. That's, it could be a sign. Changes the subject, if you bring it up, hey, you've been going on, what are you doing? Are you, just say, for instance, you bring up the subject and they're changing it and trying to brush it off and storm it off or whatever else. That could be, you're not willing to talk about this. What's up with that? They storm off. They're always offended. They can't talk about anything. They refuse to answer questions. That's an issue. That's definitely an issue. Makes accusations rather than talk, just saying things out the blue and, really just trying to turn the situation around, uses the dismissive approach. Changes in your sex life, that's a big one. You guys were used to being very active, and then, suddenly their behavior's changing, the way they talk to you is changing, and that's changing. Those could be some signs. Suddenly their interest in how they look changes, trying to do, new things, and they're very, they're used to just kicking it, khakis, sweats, or whatever, don't care, and this has been them pretty much all the time. And suddenly they're changing the way that they look. Now, keep in mind, people do change. People do, may decide to take an interest in something else. People change. They change in the hair. Women, this guy, the guy changing, spraying on cologne or whatever. It could simply be that that's their personality. Because if anything was, I change my hair a lot. So if that is the measuring tool, I'd be in a lot of trouble. So with that being said, just take it with a grain of salt, and your relationship. However, they always busy, time spent away, that's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. And they always gone, never got time. That's an issue too. Could be a sign. Personality changes, like I said. Lying, you can tell when someone is lying. You use your intuition, and these things. You just know these things. They're distant. The whole behaviors are changing, and they accuse you of cheating, building a whole campaign around you, saying that you have someone or whatever else, that reverse psychology type of bullshit, if I got to say so. That could be an issue, because you say something to them and they reverse it and pushing it on you. Well, you did, da da da. Gotta look out for that. Indifferent about things, don't really care. They used to be all into stuff, and then they're like, whatever you want, whatever, just dismissive or whatever. They don't really care. Money issues, you're checking your statement, and they're like different charges or whatever that you can't account for, different withdrawals. Like, what are you doing with this? What are you doing that? That's definitely if you guys have a joint account. I'm not sure you can do much about if you guys got the separate thing going on, and they got their money, they got your money, and you're just putting the pot, just feeding the pot for the things that you guys have agreed on. Then I don't know how you're going to do that one. But money issues was said in one. The change in technology use, they're unreachable. Here was a crazy one, that they reduce the use of social media, meaning that they don't want to be seen, with you, never taking pictures. They don't want to take pictures with you. You can't post them. You can't, I don't do the picture thing. I don't do, you might want to watch that, and maybe it's not even they cheating on you, but maybe they don't want you to know they're with someone, or something, just the whole thing. We're talking, this is season 1, episode 8, and we're talking about why do people cheat. Right now, we're giving a list of some of the signs that they are. Nevertheless, we've been talking a long time. There's always exceptions, and some of these are, just people's personalities. There's always exceptions to the rules, and sometimes people just have a personality that is suspect, but it's just them, and it's just how they move. Your partner. Pay attention. At the end of the day, if cheating happens and if you are able to work it out and stay together, then that's your decision. You may find that the grass ain't always greener on the other side. And keep in mind that everybody comes with a brand of bullshit, if I have to say so. The question becomes, you have to ask, is it the same bullshit or the brand of bullshit that you want to deal with? Okay, so that's what you got to ask yourself. With that said, let's talk about some steps to, if you have been affected by infidelity, and if you feel like you've been cheated on, or you guys have talked about it and you have had that going on in your relationship. I want to talk about some steps to helping you guys get started to moving back together. We do like to talk about, what are some issues, what causes them. And then I always like to throw out a few pointers and just scenarios where that could get you started with trying to rebuild or help you with a solution. You have to, first of all, you have to begin, to try to rebuild the trust, okay? The partners that are involved, all of your actions have to add up, and they have to be above board. Like I say almost every week, you got to talk about the issue. the feelings, and the why it actually happens in the first place, putting all the cards on the table. And then, because if you don't put all the cards on the table and you don't talk about all of the little intricate things that happen to cause it, then you're not going to be able to totally fix it. You can only totally fix something when you know what the total problem is, okay? Make time, spend as much time together working on the relationship as possible. If you've had this happen, the trust and the rebuild is not going to happen overnight. Like I say about everything, reassuring each other will be very important to the improvement, to rebuilding the relationship. And last but not least, you can always try a couples counseling or couples coaching or therapy or something to help you have a professional listen to you. And in actuality, it should be someone that's not familiar with one of you or the other one of you. Try to find a neutral person that don't know anything about you, that's going to remain neutral and unbiased to what has happened, so that they can give you their professional opinion without it being compromised, right? As such, I would like to right now invite you all to go onto my link tree when you get the opportunity on my IG page. And my IG page is at Carla, Ask Carla underscore. But if you type in Ask Carla, you'll see me out there with my hands open or whatever, and you'll know that's me. I'm inviting you to take the relationship color palette assessment. It's fun and it's very interesting. It's only 25 questions, like I tell everybody. It's soon to be more, but it's 25 right at the moment. And just follow the steps. And this may help you get started with some conversation. If you don't know how to get the conversation started, start off with something fun, something where you can just kind of ease into it. Once again, I will have the physical guide will be out hopefully within the next couple weeks, because it's in the works and almost done. I will have a thing where if you sign up to my YouTube page, subscribe to my YouTube page, you will get a free copy. You can, DM me for a free copy and I will send it to you. No shipping charges or anything. It is totally free. Or you can pick one up. I'll have them available at a certain location where you can do that. But this is all in along the lines of helping the relationship. Last, I must say, infidelity does cause a lot of upset, headaches, and a lot of pain in relationships, okay? When it happens, it's not a cookie cutter defined situation to work out. Everyone is different with different circumstances. I want you to understand that. Because your girlfriend went through a situation like that doesn't mean that if you're going through it, that your situation is the same as hers or his. However, both parties have to be committed to putting it back together. In some cases, some relationships may even become stronger through the realization of the magnitude of the love that you initially had, that joined you guys together, the two of you together in the very beginning in the first place. It was just, the situation in your relationship was merely just lacking the right attention, the need to be watered, like I said, and nurtured, and just a little bit of TLC and support. You have to decide if your relationship is worth fighting for. You know what your current situation is. A new start, starting a new relationship could surprise you, and not in a good way. Like I said, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but in some cases it might be. It's your situation. It just might be. However, you decide that. However, this is today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love for you to, once again, purchase my novels, like I said, The Woman Tells, and I'm Not a Homework Opportunist Maybe. I'm Carla Davis Luster, your host of the Us Review. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Follow me across all the platforms at Ask Carla. Once again, purchase my novels at Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, AskCarlaDL.com. Remember always, like I say every week, to create an amazing day. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.